Good morning, everyone. How's everyone today? I'm David Adams from the Board of Trustees of the Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation. So I have an important reminder and a few announcements before we begin our service today. So today, right after the service, there will be I promise a short, but a special congregational meeting to vote on something regarding the replacement of the fire alarm system at the Montessori School, funds for fixing that. So please stay after the service. We'll take a brief restroom break, 5-10 minutes, and then we'll call everybody back in. And those of you joining us on Zoom, just keep your Zoom connection open, and we will start that meeting very shortly after the service. Okay? Thank you very much for that in advance. Several announcements before we get started. Many of you will remember that earlier this year we created a task force to redesign our organizational structure to replace our sort of outdated system of committees. And that task force has been hard at work. Megan Gallagher is heading it up, and Laura Mulroy and several people. They will be bringing us an update on their efforts on Sunday, November 19th at noon here in the sanctuary. Okay, so be sure to be here for that. An announcement or message from our membership team. Would you like to get to know the folks you see here each Sunday? The best way to do that is to join our Sunday greeters. Please volunteer to welcome returning and new members 1 or 2 or more Sundays a month as a greeter. So if you're interested in that, talk to Jerry Cox, who of course does a wonderful job as a greeter back in the front, or Ellen Livingston today, and let them know if when and if you can help with that. Speaking of help, with the assistance of a foundation created by 2 of our members, Caitlin and Manny Salgado, we're collecting new and slightly used blankets to be given to unhoused people in our community. Donations, if you have them, can be put in the large box. It's right around the corner in the foyer there. It's a big, has box of blankets written on it. And so if you have a donation, please leave it there and help folks out. Just 2 more things. Our fundraiser for the new roof, we're getting close. We have so far raised $21,658. So our goal is 25, so we're getting really close. You could be the person to put us over the top. So, so remember to contribute. You can put your check, write roof on it, put it in the box there, our little model church, or stick it in an envelope, write roof on the envelope, and then put it in there. Lastly, the holidays, of course, are rapidly approaching, and we will be hosting a Thanksgiving dinner here in the sanctuary on Thursday, November 23rd at 1 p.m. Contributions to the cost of the meal are welcomed and may be sent to the office along with an RSVP. So if you'd like to save your seat, or seats plural, for the dinner, then just email or call Brenda in the office. And if you have questions, you can talk to Reverend Maggie or to Debbie Skirto. Okay, I think that's it. So we'll get started with our service with our Reverend Maggie Yenoki.
Yay! I love it. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Yeah, it is great to be here. Early in each month, we like to sing happy birthday to all of those who are having birthdays during that month. Who has a November birthday? Maybe one today. Anybody today?
My son's was yesterday.
Well, that counts. Yeah. Bob, today's your birthday? Is it today? Oh, yes, you get us to sing. So please join me and the choir as Lily plays our song for us. And instead of the name, we'll just squeeze in there November babies. I know it's a lot of syllables, but you can do it, I'm sure. Happy birthday to you. because she used to really let it rip with that, right? It is our tradition here to begin our service with the ringing of the bowl 3 times, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We ring it once for those who came before, for the ancestors and the founding members of this congregation, whose vision brings us here today, 71 years later. We ring it for the Tongva and other indigenous peoples who first tended this land and called it home long ago. We ring it once for those of us here and now. For all of us gathered here, those joining us online this morning, special good morning to you. For our staff, our visitors, our friends, our sustaining members, and our partnership congregation in the Philippines, all who support and illumine our journey together. And once for those who will come. For all who will find safe belonging here among us and make MVUUC their spiritual home in the days ahead. I would like to invite Alan Worley and Letha Comstock to come forward and light our chalice. You'll find the special new lighting stick. Yes, I did call it a taser before, I'm sorry. It's there on the stones. Our former president and first lady. And we light our chalice with these words. Here we are, together, each facing our different human tasks, or maybe the same central one, to embrace the lessons that life delivers, to discern and respond as we grow, and to refuse harm and cherish flourishing. May we know ourselves as vessels of infinite possibility, holders of each other's heartaches and tales of joy alike, weavers of one story in which we each have our part. We will now sing together Spirit of Life, and it will be followed by a reading of our congregational covenant. So I invite you to stand. We'll sing the first verse in English and the second in Spanish. You'll find the lyrics on the screen. Sing along as you're comfortable. Our covenant is a living document that we recite every week. It changes now and then, when the world changes, when we change. But this is the one we've been using for a couple of months now. And I invite you to speak it as we read it in unison. We affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. The search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to make choices for a healthier planet, and to live out our Unitarian Universalist values every day as beloved community. Thus do we love with each other and with all that is sacred in life. Always need a little silence after that, a little resonating time. Robert, I'd like to invite you up for our wisdom tale for today. The title of it is Hello, My Name Is, and it's written by one of our real famous UU ministers, Naomi King. I always like to share the fun bits about our faith, but Naomi's dad's name is Stephen.
I promise this story is not as scary as the stuff that her father writes. When we introduce ourselves to another person, we usually extend our hand and summarize ourselves with one word, usually our name. Hello, my name is Naomi. These are the kinds of face-to-face greetings that initiate relationships, that open our hearts and act as a bridge of connection from one person to the next. But there's another kind of one-word naming that goes on in our larger society that burns bridges, locks down relationships, and keeps us from living our promises to each other. We know these words. They are not words that I need to repeat here, for repeating them simply gives them more power. But they're the words that deny inherent dignity. They are the words that undermine and attack inherent worth. For these words have one powerful, hurtful message. You are not worthy. You are not human. You are not enough. Throughout my life, I've heard plenty of these words. Those labels have been ascribed to me. So many that although I may stretch out my hand and say, hello, my name is Naomi, what I feel I am saying at times is, hello, I'm worthless, or hello, I'm bad, or wrong. I came into our UU faith because we promised to counter those messages. I am part of a religious community because we promise not to reduce each other to terrible labels, not to strip each other of our humanity, not to ascribe levels of worthiness to one another. Most of us need to feel our inherent worth, to be restored to our dignity, to practice justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Most of us yearn to say, hello, I am somebody, and to be greeted with the words, hello, somebody, welcome, we're glad that you're here. Most of us hunger for affirmation and celebration in who we are and in the gifts and blessings that we bring to this world. Most of us come here to be greeted as the loving, generous, compassionate people that we are. I believe each of us offers many blessings to this world in who we are, but sometimes we, even in our beloved community, might have a difficult time affirming and seeing those blessings. So right now, we're going to do a little exercise. You'll find a blank sticky note inside of your order of service that you can use. Now look into yourself and discover one of your blessings, one of your gifts to the world. You might see that you are loving, peaceful, generous, compassionate. There are so many traits and blessings. Which one is yours? Write that blessing onto your name tag and put it where it can be seen. Greet yourself with this name and share that greeting with another person today. We are all blessings to this world. Our work of building bridges of connection is done by finding and naming and affirming those blessings in ourselves and in others. It is the work of nurturing our spirits and healing our world. Amen. And now, I don't believe we have any children in the sanctuary today, so you guys can sing me to our class.
Yeah, let's ask, does anybody need a pen
Oh, yeah.
to write out? I got a couple pens.
We also have crayons on the back table if anybody wants a crayon.
I want to see all those name badges.
Yeah, we gotta see those names.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. I hope you get lots of folks online for today. Between Halloween and the changing clocks and everything else, the kids are like... As we continue to grow as a caring community, we celebrate our shared compassion for those friends, relatives, and neighbors who are in need of good care in these tender times. Our congregation has chosen to create an opportunity to live out our generous care as we gather our undesignated offerings, and we split them 50-50 with a local charity that was pre-selected by the justice team and approved by the board. For the month of November, the undesignated offerings that we gather will be shared with Moms Demand Action. And here to tell us about them is one of their volunteers and our member, Maureen Hangan. Come on up, Maureen. Yeah, please. Make sure that, yeah, that's good.
Well, after hearing from Robert, I took my name tag and I wrote short and crossed it off and put responsible.
Yeah. Good job.
So I'm here today with my daughter Julie, and we are volunteers with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense. Yay, it's working. We're a grassroots movement of volunteers across the United States fighting for public safety measures that can protect people from gun violence. We are moms and dads, students and teachers, young and senior, and survivors of gun violence. We started in 2012. We are part of a larger organization, Every Town for Gun Safety. We have more than 10 million supporters. And we have chapters in all states, including student chapters. There's actually there's a student chapter at Pomona College. We all know lots of people are killed every day with gun violence, and we have to recognize that not all of them were in mass shootings, but let's talk about some of the sad mass shootings. In October, just last month, at Morgan State University in Baltimore, on October 3rd, 5 individuals were wounded. And I don't know if it actually happened, but the president of the college wanted to put a wall around the school after that. And after that, I texted a family member who lives in Baltimore, and I was rather concerned that he had heard nothing about it. So, Lewistown, on October 26th, 18 people killed and 13 injured. Halloween weekend, last weekend, mass shootings, 11 dead in multiple locations across the United States. Here are some examples of mass shootings in California. I believe I would say Isla Vista, Isla, okay, and near Santa Barbara on May 23rd, 2014, 6 dead, 3 by gunshot, 3 stabbed. And many of you will remember the San Bernardino shooting on December 2nd, 2015. That was actually termed a terrorist attack because there was consideration of bombs. That was at the Inland Regional Center. 14 were killed and 22 were injured. Examples of shootings in California This year, Monterey Park, January 21st, Lunar New Year, 11 killed, 9 injured, oops, sorry, I didn't leave a space, at a dance studio. In Half Moon Bay on January 23rd, look how close those were together, 2 days. In Half Moon Bay on January 23rd, 7 were killed and 1 injured, and this was workplace violence at a mushroom farm where a worker was upset about working conditions. And I had a weird thought after that, and when I buy mushrooms now, if I have a choice, I buy them from Canada to support the workers. What does Moms Demand Action do? While recognizing that the Second Amendment exists, we want to keep people safe from gun violence by the Be Smart program, which educates gun owners how to safely store their guns. We advocate for legislation that will reduce violence, including support thorough background checks and closing loopholes for guns purchased at trade shows and online. We want better access to gun violence restraining orders, also known as GVROs. And we identify gun sense candidates, and we want to share the stories of survivors of mass shootings. The Pomona Valley Moms Demand Action chapter was founded in the summer of last year. After the shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas on May 24th, where 19 students and 2 teachers were killed, I responded to a Facebook post in Claremont Connects and met with others concerned, and our journey began. At that time, I had a couple of thoughts that I shared with others when we were getting together for the first time. One mom talked about how the active shooting drills traumatized her kid with autism. And I thought about my own daughter, who one of her classmates, his father, he died by gunshot wound. And how the school handled it, and and so I thought about that. And I must say, when I saw the centering thought today, I realized that at that point, I was finding a community. A community is the spirit, the guiding light of the tribe, whereby people come together to fulfill a specific purpose, to help others fulfill their purpose, and to take care of one another. So what have we done here since we started last year in the Pomona Valley? We participated in Village Venture in Claremont in 2022. We had a table for disseminating information at the Heart of the Foothills Bicycle Ride in 2023. We were at the Gun Safety Resource Fair, June 23rd, in East Los Angeles. We participated in a fundraiser at Homeboy Industries, a 5K fundraiser on September 1st. In June, we had a booth at the Monterey Park Gay Pride Festival. Those were some really good vibes. We were welcomed by the community and some of the officials from Monterey Park and various close areas. And here's something we're really proud of. In June, we successfully encouraged 4 local governments to pass proclamation recognizing Gun Violence Awareness Day. Those governments were the City of Pomona, El Monte, West Covina, and the LA County Board of Supervisors. And thank you. We're the ones in the red shirts, and we're not just moms. And unlike a red shirt in Star Trek, we're not going anywhere.
Boy, thank you, Maureen. Thank you so much. Beautiful. So all of our offerings that are taken up in November that are not designated to fulfill your pledges to the congregation or other fund drives such as the roof, all that money will be shared 50-50 with Moms Demand Action. So now, while we listen to Lily's beautiful offertory, I invite those of you in the sanctuary to please come forward with your generous offerings, and please know that it is with deep gratitude for the gifts of time, talent, and treasure offered by our community that the offering will now be given and received. Another of our traditions is to share the things that are bringing our lives delight and also disappointment. We have these yellow papers when you first come in. They're on the table over there. I have 3 that were filled out this morning. One comes from Letha, and I think she went to help with the kids, but Alan's here. Letha's son Josh finally made it home safely just last night when a 3-day trip turned into 10 days after a series of unfortunate events. So we are very grateful. Welcome home, Josh, and we hope we see you soon. Phoebe writes that her minister, Reverend Clay Nelson of the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Auckland, New Zealand, passed away last week. Yeah. We offer thoughts to his family and the congregation back home. And for you, Phoebe, sometimes it's so hard to be at such a great distance when I know that Karen went through that because our own Karen Lane is from Lewiston, Maine. So she felt a great distance with all of the compassion she was feeling. So she was very moved by our warm care of her in her grief. And may we offer you the same, Phoebe. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. And Amy and Ellen Randall are announcing that Jason Randall, who grew up in this congregation, is now Dr. Jason Randall after, sorry. He just completed his PhD in evolutionary biology. So I think he'll help us save the earth. What do you think? Yeah. Also, a couple weeks ago, I gave a joyful announcement about Joyce Armenta's new grandson, Samuel Oscar Sanchez. He arrived much too early, was only 1.5 pounds. Yeah, but he's doing well, and he and Mom Stephanie are doing well. He's gaining weight very slowly, and he's still in the NICU at Loma Linda Hospital. So we send him our love and hopes for continued growth and healing. And just, in my ministry for you and also just in my connections in the world, there is just so much difficult, heartbreaking news right now all over the earth. I was reminded of a story that I had heard before, and forgive me because I can't think of the origin of it. Maybe someone like Ann would be able to correct me. But it was someone who was holding an atlas and rubbing her hand over it, asking, where does it hurt? And the atlas said everywhere. Yeah. So we'll do a little ritual now, if you would, those who are moved. And I had to adjust the map, Phoebe, because New Zealand was like off the table. So I moved the map, so New Zealand is there. I will put one there for you. And please come forward, light a candle, and place it on the place on the earth, on our map up front, where you are directing your loving, prayerful energies. You guys can I have a short video that Jaryus has ready for us. It will lead us into a little time of shared silence, and then Lily will break our silence by playing the next song we'll sing, Filled with Loving Kindness. If you want to put your finger in that, in the hymnal, it's number 1031. And Jaryus, you can play the video now. Make yourselves comfortable.
Forget about enlightenment. Sit down wherever you are and listen to the wind singing in your veins. Feel the love, the longing, the fear in your bones. Open your heart to who you are right now. Not who you would like to be, not the saint that you are striving to become, but the being right here before you, inside you, around you. All of you is holy. You are already more and less than whatever you can know. Breathe out, touch in, let go.
When we sing Filled with Loving Kindness, and I'm sorry I'm going to shorten your silence time, but I do urge you to sit in some more at home. We sing it with 3 different pronouns. We start with ourselves and go out towards the world. So every verse has a different pronoun. So we'll sing the 3 verses, filled with loving kindness. Just a little tidbit. The music for that song is written by Reverend Ian Riddell. He's the minister in Palm Desert. He also wrote the music for the song that we sing the children out with. So, pretty talented guy. I would like to invite our friend Jack Wiedner up into the pulpit. He will read offer our reading today. It's called Found While Lost, and it's written by Eric Martinez Resley.
Thank you. The beauty of the world is the mouth of a labyrinth, writes Simone Weil. We would be foolish not to follow its call. And so we enter the labyrinth, lured by the whiff of a dream still in the making, the possibility of a new relationship, the promise of a new career, the potential for a new beginning. We can never be sure what we will find once inside, but this much is certain. There will be times when the beauty of the world, and with it the entrance to the labyrinth, unexpectedly disappear. Some relationships will disintegrate, some careers will dissatisfy, some beginnings will disappoint. Unable to find the labyrinth's opening, we often find ourselves in frantic search of an escape, fumbling for the next step, tiring ourselves out in the process. Disheartened, dispirited, we feel disoriented. We get lost. The question is not, will we get lost in life, but rather, how will we move through it in faith? Will we dwell on everything that we have lost, or will we focus instead on everything that we have yet to find? As it happens, there is much that awaits us in our lostness, much to be excavated, examined, even exalted. In not yet knowing what will be, we are afforded the opportunity to appreciate what already is, the things hiding in plain sight. A frayed relationship, for example, may reveal our deeper needs. An unfulfilling career may motivate us to seek out a mentor. A missed start or a misstep may remind us of our own fragile humanity. It may claw open our hearts and sensitize us to the suffering of others. When lost, perhaps the greatest question our faith asks of us is this: how will we be found? Once the time is ripe, the stars align, and the way begins to open, will we be ready to embrace the mystery anew? Will we choose to trust anew, to risk anew, to hope anew? Will we allow ourselves to yet again be drawn in, swept up, taken over by that magic that makes life worth living. In the words of Simone Weil, for if we do not lose courage, if we go on walking, it is absolutely certain that we will finally arrive at the center of the labyrinth, and there God is waiting.
The next song that the choir wants to share with you. There's no mic. Okay, the next song that the choir wants to share with you. Try it again.
The next,
There you go.
yay, third time. The next song that the choir would like to share with you is very special to me. It's called Let There Be Peace on Earth. I was very lucky when I was 10 years old to be part of my family's volunteer effort to be the Pacific Southwest coordination reception for all the students on American Field Service coming from the Pacific areas, especially Japan and the Philippines. And we hosted them at LAX, got them on planes, trains, I don't think boats, but buses, to go to their host families for a year. My sister was in Sweden as a student volunteer also. And this couple that wrote this song came to one of our gatherings, and they were sharing it with us. I'm getting chills. They were singing it with us. We were all singing. Students were singing. It was a wonderful experience. And it was so great to see all these folks reaching out, holding hands, crying, singing, to ask for peace around the world. And I just think it's something we need to ask for again. So please share with us. Thank you.
It gave me chills too. Thank you for sharing that, Debbie. Yeah. Inside your order of service for today, you'll find a copy of one of our congregation's important documents, our Covenant in Right Relations, that was adopted in June of 2006. For those of us who do love to do the math, you are right on if you calculated that June 4th of that year was 17 years, 4 months, and 32 days ago. And as a non-creedal covenanting tradition, we, as a Unitarian Universalist congregation, worked together to create and adopt this statement as a covenant that states how we will agree to be in relationship with one another in this spiritual community. So as your somewhat recently installed minister, I'm actually unsure how often this covenant has been reviewed for updates or engaged with to bring resolution to discord, or referred to when there was behavior that might have been outside of this covenant. But I know that it's been hanging on the wall between the kitchen door and the service window for a very, very, very long time. And, you know, I've never referenced it or spoke of it in a sermon message yet. When I did share in a conversation that I was going to focus our hearts on the covenant in a Sunday service, people said, "Oh no, is anything wrong? Did something happen? Is there a problem?" And my answer to all three questions was no, and isn't it wonderful? Now is a good time to be looking at this document when we're not, you know, turning toward it in a state of panic because we need its guidance. So thank you one and all for the many ways that you all live out our principles and make this community a safe place to be in relationship with those that we share our spiritual journey with. There's actually no better time to talk about the ways that we are in relationship than when things are rolling along well and we have a level perspective on them. I know one of us that grabbed me has already made a bunch of notes on their Post-it note about changes we need to make to this document, things we need to consider about it. So that's why I gave each of you a copy to meditate on and read and think about. We do have enough work going on right now, really. I'm not adding this to our load, but there it is, and we need to talk about it. It's good to talk about these things when we're in a good place. We're not frantic, searching for balance, or grounding or support in the midst of heartbreak or frustration that has come. And it did come in the past. But similar to the mission statement that we, and I will raise my hand too, we rarely talk about our mission statement. What good is it really to have an agreement hanging on the wall that we never look at or live up to? Dare I relate it to those in Washington who have a copy of the US Constitution hanging in their office, or another perspective that's a little closer to the heart. Whenever I officiate a marriage, I ask the couple to write out their vows to each other on a piece of paper that they might consider framing together after the ceremony, to hang in their home and to reread every now and again. To keep their promises of how they will live together and be in relationship throughout their time. But this covenant isn't really that different from a wedding vow. It is our promise of what we will bring into this relationship and what we can expect to hold ourselves accountable to. So I invite you to take your copy of this document to heart too. Maybe put it in a place at home where you can reflect on it and be thinking of ways that it fits or doesn't fit who we are now that we're 17 years, 14 months, and 32 days older than when it was voted on. And boy, has a lot happened in that time. Yeah. Some of us here have been here that long or longer, but many of us enter into a covenant that they did not write. And maybe that's okay, but let's see. And because our covenants are living documents, let's breathe a bit of life into this one. I'd like to make it more central to our walk together as we grow to become a community that is well known for being a place of spiritual growth and service, a place of healthy community, and a place of right relationship. We might think of our nation's Pledge of Allegiance as a type of a covenant for citizens of the U.S. And while I was visiting with my grandson Wilder online yesterday, he recited the pledge for me. He told me that first we put our hand on our heart, and then together we say, and then with his little 4-year-old voice coming across his daddy's FaceTime all the way from upstate New York, we said the Pledge of Allegiance together. Across the miles, from New York to California, from sea to shining sea. And I was so proud of him. He's in pre-K. And while he had no idea what he was agreeing to, and I kind of choked on some of the words, and I doubt he has his theology on the concept of under God all figured out. I was surprised by how big my heart felt and how big the tears were that I was blinking back. But I am a big sucker for that kid. And I'm a firm believer that the covenants that we make are important. And each Sunday after we light our chalice, and in song we invite the Spirit of life to come in and join us, we recite a covenant of a different kind. Our congregational covenant is our affirmation of who we agree to be together. We say, yes, love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. And our search for truth is what guides us, and service is our prayer. We pledge all that we are to be brave and to challenge injustice. And we make choices for a better, healthier planet. And we aspire to always live out our Unitarian Universalist values. And this is our covenant with one another and with all that is sacred in our lives. It states who we are as a community, and it fleshes out how we wish to be known in the world. In many ways, our congregational covenant and this covenant of right relations are reflective of and interwoven with Article 2 of our bylaws that spells out our purpose. It's the reason we exist. also with a vision of a national lens and a worldwide perspective as a partnership congregation in the UUA. We have the opportunity to be deeply engaged with the revisions that are being proposed to change Article 2 of the bylaws of the Unitarian Universalist Association, headquartered in Boston. Those changes have now been published in draft form, and they are available for us to read online. The link to these documents was shared in the online order of service that was sent out this morning at 6 a.m. And the information from the commission is pinned to the top of our Facebook page, if anybody visits there, and the link will be published weekly in our Community Connections weekly newsletter. These draft revisions are also easily found by searching the UUA.org website under Article 2 Study Commission, under their governance section. This year ahead will bring us several opportunities to be in deep conversation with the Article 2 Study Commission's proposal and UUA leadership before these proposed changes are voted on at our General Assembly in June. And it is each of our responsibility and our duty to pay attention and to study these draft changes together. So let's read them deeply and engage openly with one another as we strive to be willing to open toward learning and be willing to consider changes, maybe those that we don't see clearly quite yet. And let's be willing to grow. And as our own shift in governance happens here in our congregation at the same time, I find that beautiful and interesting that we too are changing our governance at the same time that the national office is. That together we consider ways to create our best and most sustainable future. And a big part of that, I hope, will be that we rely on our covenants and we build a sound foundation for those who will inherit this faith from us, not for our own idiosyncrasies or wording that we happen to like. We're doing this, we're holding this, we're making these changes for those who will come. That third bell that we ring every time. Let's pay attention to that. So please plan to attend the update following the Sunday service next Sunday, the 19th. And as we close, may we reflect on right relationship. And may the love that gives life its beauty, the reverence that gives life its sacredness, and the purposes that give life its deep significance be strong within each of us and lead us into an ever-deepening relationship with one another, with all that is sacred in the life that is calling to us all. Amen. Our sending song today is a doxology. Did I put the words in the order of service? Yes. Okay, good. So would you play what a doxology sounds like so that the folks can... It's a little bit of old church that just sometimes just feels good, doesn't it? But the words that we sing to it are in your order of service. So let me check with Jaryus. Yeah, there's something else. Do you have these other? The other clock changed? Oh, okay. But first, I have something fun. And I just put this on Jaryus at the last minute. So thank you so much for squeezing it into your life. There's a minister in San Luis Obispo, and he's my friend. His name is Rod Richards. And he and I this morning wrote doxology about changing the clocks. So we have 2 verses. I invite you to sing this with me, and then we'll do the closing doxology. Is that okay, Lily? If the choir can turn around and read the lyrics, I would love to have you guys sing it along. 3 verses. Thank you, Jaryus. If I could ask you to come forward and extinguish our chalice, we will read our unison benediction together. And Terry and Debbie will go make the coffee. Thank you. We leave this gathered community, but not our connection to one another or our sense of belonging here. In this hour together, we have inspired our hearts, strengthened our faith, and deepened our commitment to care for the world. So until we gather again, let's be strong, be well, and be kind.